Welcome back to a special edition of Crispy Comments. Why this comment is completely wrong. So this was left on a video I made a while ago and posted to YouTube about mountain goats aren't goats but muskox are. He goes, I'm willing to bet that you would have a better chance of success breeding a mountain goat to a domestic goat than you would have breeding a muskox to a domestic goat. Sometimes I think scientists, singular, are stupid. Then I reply, no, it's entirely based on genetics. Muskox are genetically closer to domestic goats, etc., etc. He goes, yeah, and we also share 50% of our genetics with the banana. Back I said I think scientists are whack. Then you can't really see, but down at the bottom, he goes, mountain goat acts more like a goat, looks more like a goat than a muskox. I don't care what genetics say. So, phylogeny is a shit show, but it's not that much of a shit show. Relatedness is determined, at least now, since we have the molecular data from it, based almost entirely on genetics. He goes, we share about 50% of our DNA with a banana. I don't know what point he's trying to bring up here. That means absolutely nothing in regards to what we're talking about. Species that are closer related are easier able to interbreed with each other. For example, horses and donkeys are relatively closely related and they can interbreed to make a mule. However, that mule is then infertile. I think always, there might be a couple cases. That's because they are closely related, but they're still too genetically different to be able to make fertile offspring. Now, horses and donkeys look similar, act similar, are still relatively closely related, but cannot produce viable offspring or fertile offspring occasionally. Now, mountain goats and domestic goats are way farther removed from each other than like horses and donkeys are. They're not even like closely related at all. You would almost definitely not get any offspring from a mountain goat and a domestic goat, and if you did, they would probably be not very good offspring. They would probably be weak and genetically funky, and they would probably not be able to produce offspring on their own either. Now, with muskox and domestic goats, they are closer related, so you would probably get less fucked up offspring if you manage to interbreed them, but that being said, they are two different species. They're just closer related than mountain goats and domestic goats. Let's talk about a maybe slightly easier to grasp example. So for example, let's take coyotes and foxes. They look very similar. They're both dog-shaped. You would think that they would be able to interbreed, but they can't. They don't interbreed because they're not close enough related. Now let's take, for example, a Great Dane and a Chihuahua. They are close enough related that they could interbreed. You probably shouldn't, you would probably get something super fucked up, but they can because they are genetically close enough. So since foxes and coyotes look the same, but can't interbreed, but Great Danes and Chihuahuas look wildly different, but can interbreed, that destroys his whole argument. Basically, phylogeny and relatedness is determined by genetics, not just what looks like each other. Those are just cases of convergent evolution. For example, again, a Tasmanian tiger, or the thylacine, looks very similar to a fox or a coyote, but they are so unbelievably different and like super far apart genetically, there would be absolutely no chance of them interbreeding because, well, I mean, the thylacine is extinct, but if it wasn't, genetically there would be absolutely no way. Even though they look and act similar because they fill similar niches, there's no way. So just because a mountain goat looks closer to a domestic goat than a muskox does, doesn't mean they are the same thing and they can interbreed. So that guy was just fully wrong.